Today, we're going to be talking about how to grow your revenue impact. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to give people a few minutes to join. While we wait for people to enter into the webinar, just wanted to cover a few housekeeping parts. So you'll notice that on the right-hand side, you'll have a little button that says engage. If you click that, it will open a side panel up where you'll have access to the chat and also the Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please do submit those into the Q&A section, and myself and Jane will look to answer those at the end in our Q&A part of the webinar. But also, if you have any comments or remarks about anything that we're talking about today, please also feel free to pop them into the chat. We're going to be talking about lots of exciting things, so I'm sure there'll be lots of discussion. So please do feel free to pop those comments into the chat box on the right-hand side. Wonderful. I'll give it just a few more minutes for people to join us. If you are joining us, do feel free to pop into the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're coming from, if you like. As I mentioned again, please do feel free to use that Q&A box. This is going to be a theme that's going to come up throughout the webinar today. So please do pop that into the chat box. Okay, let's give it another minute or so. And then we'll get stuck right in and have a look at what we're going to talk about today. Fantastic. I can see people already talking in the chat there, introducing themselves and letting us know where they come from. So that's lovely. Hi there, Michael. Nice to see you. Anyone else, please do feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box. And us three lovely hosts will be introducing ourselves very shortly. Lovely. We've got Danny, we've got a Josh. Amazing. Lovely to meet you all. I'm hoping you're all sat there with over a cup of tea or a cup of coffee this morning. I see a lot of you are in the UK. Unfortunately, my tea's just gone cold, so I've got water now. I feel like Dido. Right, okay, so let's get stuck right in. So in the agenda today, we're going to be looking at the revenue gap, and our lovely Elliot will be taking you through that. So as marketers, sometimes it can feel like you do pour your heart and your soul into your content. We've all been there. But actually, what comes out the other end? So we're going to hear from Elliot on how you can demonstrate the impact of your efforts. And then we're going to have a look at how Kantar grew MAR by 550% from our lovely guest, Jane. And then she will be telling us the incredible story around how she got to that figure. And finally, we'll conclude the webinar with the Q&A session that I mentioned at the very beginning. So we'll wrap up with that Q&A from our audience. If you have any questions, as I mentioned already, please do pop those into that Q&A panel on the right-hand side. And we'll hopefully get to those questions at the end there. So who are we? And what are we all about? So I'm Georgia. I'm a customer success manager at Turtl. I may have met some of you before in the chat here. And I'm also the proud CSM of Kantar Worldpanel, the organisation that Jane works for. So Jane is the senior marketing manager at Kantar Worldpanel, and I'll allow herself to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I lead the marketing team here in Vietnam, and I'm also responsible for driving digital marketing activities at Kantar Worldpanel APAC.
Amazing. And Elliot, would you mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. So I'm Elliot. I'm the VP of Brand and Marketing at Turtl.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And Elliot, I believe you have something to share with us in terms of the revenue gap today.
Absolutely. So the revenue gap. This is the number one problem facing B2B marketers today. 30% of our entire budgets go on content. But how do we know what's actually working? Like, what's driving ROI? For the most part, we're not sure. Like, how did that dollar investment, like, how did it really do for me? What's really resonating with our audiences? And how do we know what's really driving pipeline? In our recent report, the revenue gap, I think over 500 B2B marketers claim that they're really confident in their ability to attribute their content spend to revenue. But in practice, it's really murky because the current approach can't close the gap. We need something new and something genuinely innovative to help solve this problem. And that's where a revenue content platform comes in, like Turtl, that can help you close that gap between content and revenue, can show your ROI, show what's actually working, but ultimately enable you to do more of it by building a strong connection to the content you create, your audience engagement, and those first-party data signals, and build confidence on clarity on what to do next, how to drive more revenue from your content. And we've seen amazing stories of transformation like Kantar's again and again across our 400 enterprise customers around the globe. But this story is really, really special. And the impact that Kantar has driven with revenue content is seismic. And we're really excited to share exactly how they did it. So thank you, Georgia, for letting me set the scene. I'll hand over to you to talk about an amazing story with Kantar.
Amazing. You're so right. It's such a special story, and I'm really excited to share it with the audience today. So I'm excited to reintroduce Jane, our Senior Marketing Manager at Kantar Worldpanel, who's going to be sharing her story around how Kantar Worldpanel grew MAR by 550%. So Jane's been leading the marketing efforts across the region, as she identified at the beginning, and with a particular focus on expanding their marketing initiatives in the Vietnam region. But before we dive into their impressive results that the team has achieved, Jane, could you maybe give us a quick overview of what Kantar Worldpanel is all about and what you're aiming to accomplish as an organisation?
Yes, hi again. So for those who don't know about Kantar or Kantar Worldpanel, we are a global marketing data and analytics firm. We focus on understanding shopper and consumer behavior with our extensive consumer panels that are present in all over the world, over 65 markets. So we collect real purchase data directly from hundreds and thousands of households who permission us to do so through our consumer panels. And with our first-party data and advanced analytics, we can help brands understand what people buy and the reason behind it, so they can make smarter and better informed decisions about marketing, pricing, and product innovation strategies based on what real shoppers are doing. So in Asia, we have built a strong local expertise with consumer panels in 11 markets, covering 85% of Asia's GDP. And our panel data is the go-to source of consumer insight for brands who want to succeed in this very exciting and dynamic region. So to grow our business, it's important that our clients understanding the value of data and our research capabilities, but more importantly, how they can apply these behavioral insights into growing their business. So in short, we want to turn consumer behavior into actionable growth strategies for our client.
Amazing. Thank you. That's great to have a little glimpse into what you really do at Kantar Worldpanel and what you're looking to accomplish there. So thank you for that overview. I'd love now to dig a little bit deeper and really understand your approach and your thinking behind your content strategy. What are your main aims?
Yeah. So I'm in the business of data, right? And my role as a marketer is to be responsible for developing effective content strategy and enable our sales team to drive revenue success from our content. And our content strategy evolves around 3 key pillars. First, because we have billions of data points and really complex analytical models to make sense of all of this data. So my job as a marketer is to make these really complex data sets and analytics as simple and easy to digest as possible for our audience. Secondly, we want to help our clients connect the dots between market trends, consumer insights with the value of the solutions that Kantar Worldpanel can offer. And lastly, we can do all of this with effective data storytelling and through useful insights and impactful content. And when a customer can find themselves in the business questions that we try to answer with our content, and that's when we have successfully captured demand.
Fantastic. So it's all about kind of simplifying and then connecting those dots and then being able to have those really compelling data points. That's amazing. So now I'd like to understand a little bit more about life before Turtl and how maybe previous formats that you were using, how they potentially impacted your growth. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, so having good content is very important in driving B2B growth, but being able to track the impact of this content and attribute it to your business growth is a whole different story. Before we used Turtl as a tool for our content execution, we were using traditional format like PDF. And if you are a content marketer, you probably know that this can create a disconnection between your content and its impact on your clients and your sales revenue, because you don't know what role your content is playing in driving your sales. And beyond just the number of downloads, our content that was published on traditional format provided no signals to help us to help our sales team target the most potential lead. So we had no idea how our potential clients were interacting with our content. For example, how many times do they read a document or white paper, or what piece of content really resonates with them and answers these questions, right? And because we didn't really understand how people were interacting with us, we were missing out on some of the opportunities to attract and retain more leads. And this also made it hard to see if our marketing or which marketing activities were really actually helping our sales. And without the insight into how well our content was performing, it was difficult to make improvements or adjustment to our content strategies, because know what was working, what landed with our audience, and then we weren't able to invest our resources on the projects that could bring the most value.
Yeah, I completely understand. And I think it's interesting because obviously I speak to marketers every day as part of my job, and a lot of marketers have some very similar challenges. It's always the same things. So can you talk to us about how you overcame those challenges and how switching up your approach to prioritize revenue and sales impact really helped you to overcome those very common challenges?
Yeah, so when we transitioned from using the traditional PDF format to Turtl document, it's been an absolute game changer for us in terms of bridging the gap between our content and its business impact. Using Turtl documents helped us to capture and retain our audience and generate more leads. But I think the biggest difference comes from the new ability to measure the performance of the document. From previously, we were using just the number of download. And maybe for some of you, you were using traffic site as an indicator. Now we have a more precise indicator of how well the document is performing, which is how many times the document has been read, or how many unique readers the document has touched, and then how many readers return to this document. In 2024, our report readership jumped from 500 downloads on average for each report to nearly 30,000 reads of all the report that we publish on Turtl. So not only that that we can retain our readers, but thanks to using this new interactive platform, we can harness so much more interaction data and understand a whole lot more about who our audience is and how they're reading our content. For example, we can now see exactly which chapter they are the most interested in, what their average read time is, how many times have you read this document. So you can continuously use this data to improve our next thought leadership to resonate even better with our audience. And having such a detailed and granular level of interaction data, it has helped us to identify the most potential and the most engaged lead, so we can bring this information forward to our sales team, and so we can all drive more effective lead generation and management cycles. For example, if I know exactly which lead is reading which report and which data they are reading, right? We can tailor our offers and our communication based on their specific interest. The data that we have gained from using Turtl also helped us to make smarter and more strategic decisions, not just in the way that we communicate our products and services, but in how we prove the value of the marketing activities across the business. We can clearly demonstrate the contribution of marketing to business growth, and with tangible data to back that up. And then because of that, our budget and our resources are focused on the projects that really work, that really resonate with our audience.
Fantastic. It's interesting in the chat, actually, I can see that Michael has mentioned that he actually discovered Turtl through one of Kantar's reports, and he saw the Powered by Turtl at the end. I thought that was a lovely segue, because now we're actually going to look at some of Kantar Worldpanel's reports. So we're going to have a look at the Vietnam FMCG Outlook 2024 report, first of all. And this, I believe, is the team's most successful report. So it launched at the beginning of last year and was one of 3 flagship reports in Vietnam for 2024. And the FMCG Outlook report, it's a bit of a tongue twister that, is an essential guide for brands to understand and navigate the dynamic landscape of FMCG in the region of Vietnam specifically. So not just for what's happening now, but also with an eye on where things are heading into the future. So can you maybe tell us a bit more about this particular campaign, please, Jane?
Yes, it's our biggest marketing report of the year. And in this report, we want to analyze a combination of the key socioeconomic and demographic factors that drive consumer behavior. And then we want to layer this with the insight from the purchase and consumption data that we collected from Vietnamese consumers to build a very clear picture of the current FMCG landscape, and more importantly, forecast how consumer behavior and consumers' purchase priorities are likely to evolve in the midterm and long term. And so far, it's been the most successful report of Kantar Worldpanel APAC and Vietnam. It's been read almost 13,000 times by over 6,000 readers. This is the kind of data that we cannot get from the traditional PDF format. And it also generated over 400 inquiries because we have a contact form embedded directly in the report. So imagine with the traditional PDF report, you probably have found yourself in this situation before. You would download it and you put it in like a nicely organized folder, and then you never touch it again. So that's using Turtl and the interactive features of Turtl has been a very big positive change.
Amazing. It's always great to see them in real life and to actually see the features in action. So thank you for sharing that with us. So another report that we wanted to look at was one of the other flagship reports, so one of those 3 that we mentioned just a moment ago. And this is your 2024 brand footprint report, which I believe has been running for 11 years. Is that correct? Can you tell us a bit more about that as well, please?
Yes, so brand footprint has been around for 12 years. This is the 12th year that we are doing this campaign. But we only started to publish the report on Turtl in the last 2 years or so, and it has made a huge difference for us. In this report, we want to reveal the annual ranking of the most chosen consumer good brands all over the world, also in Vietnam, and then what their recipe for success is. So far, it's been read in less than a year. It's been read over 6,000 times, and we also got over 150 inquiries from this report. So it played a huge role in the whole brand footprint campaign, and it served as a very important touch point for us to connect and engage with not just the winning brand, the emerging brands, and allow us to tell their inspiring success stories.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And also, can I just say, these documents are just gorgeous documents. I don't know if anyone else was thinking that as I was flicking through, but they are beautiful looking documents. But they're not just good looking. The proof is in the pudding. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the impact of these wonderful documents.
Yeah, so these 2 examples clearly demonstrate how Turtl has been absolutely instrumental in amplifying the impact of our thought leadership strategy. And we also have data to back this up too. In 2024, we were able to grow our marketing pipeline by over 500%. And then the value of the won proposals from these marketing activities also increased at a similar rate. Besides that, we were able to increase our conversion rate from the marketing lead to sales lead by 250%. That means not only we are getting more leads, but our leads are more relevant and our opportunities are more viable.
Fantastic. It really is an amazing success story, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Jane. So now we're going to move on to the Q&A section. So I noticed one question has popped up in the chat, and we've also got some pre-prepared questions as well. So I'm going to start with the question in the chat. It asked, how do you distribute these reports and where do the readers come from? Are you able to give us a little insight towards that, please, Jane? That was from William.
Yeah, so when you publish the report on Turtl, it provides you with a link, and you can embed this link in all your communication channels with your audience, with the prospects, right? And then on Turtl, on the dashboard, we can see exactly where the readers come from. So obviously for us, for Vietnam, most of the readers come from Vietnam, but also for our Worldpanel global, most of the audience is also coming from Vietnam. That means for some reason, yeah, Vietnamese, our Vietnamese clients just love this platform.
Very inquisitive. Yeah. They just want all the knowledge. That's lovely. So you said about emails there. So is that sort of like email campaigns, embedding it into like the website? Sort of what channels are you specifically?
So we're using website email marketing. And then sometimes if we do run paid ads, then the report can be embedded in the paid ads as well.
Amazing. That's great insight. Thank you for that. And also, I just wanted to remind everyone, if you do have any further questions, please do pop those in the chat now or in the Q&A section, and we'll get to those questions as well. So moving on to some of the other questions that we had prepared. So as we've seen in the presentation today, the results that you've achieved are really impressive. If you had to pick the most significant improvement or change that you've made to achieve those numbers, what would it be?
Thank you. That's a great question. I would have to highlight the two key improvements that have been crucial in our success. What constituted the success of our marketing activity last year came from the collective effort of the people that helped build the report. We have a very knowledgeable team of experts that truly understand our clients' pain point, and we also have the solution that help solve these pain points. And then we have the data to prove this too, and the data come from Turtl. And with the insight that we gather from the platform, we were able to pinpoint which are the biggest business questions our clients are currently concerned with in the current market situation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I can see another question has come in live as well. This is quite a specific question, so maybe a ballpark figure. But Michael has asked, how many colleagues at Kantar, let's be specific with the Worldpanel APAC team, let's say, are trained on how to create Turtl documents? So is it like one person designing them, or do you have lots of people going in and creating the documents? Do you have a dedicated design team?
Yes, we do have a design team that help create these elements that you will see in the Turtl doc. And then we do have a marketing team that produce the content, in this case, me. But it's quite easy to use. So some of us have been trained in APAC, 2 to 3 people to create this report, and it's quite easy to get used to.
Fantastic. And probably easier now with Editor 2.0 as well in the freeform modes, hopefully. Wonderful. So how have you embedded and actioned the insights that you've gathered from the Turtl documents in subsequent campaigns? So now we're in 25.
Great question, another great question. So first of all, the data from Turtl gives us a lot of information. We can see exactly, like I shared before, which chapter or which components in the document have the highest engagement and the highest dwell times. So this allows us to select these elements and then repurpose these high performing elements for our social media campaigns and also on the other channels to make sure that our content delivers, continue to deliver value across different channels and different touch points. And then we, the data that we harvest from the marketing systems that are integrated with Turtl can give us insight into the business issues or business challenges that are the most interesting to our audience. So this data is very helpful in pinpointing what makes them tick and it allows us to refine our next campaigns and create even more relevant content and solution for the right clients. So we are constantly using the platform and harvesting the insight to inform our next marketing actions.
Fab. I really like that. It's like using the insights that you gain from Turtl to actually use that outside of Turtl. I think sometimes people can get stuck thinking that Turtl is just Turtl. It's in its own kind of world. It's standalone. But actually, you're using those insights and analytics that you're drawing from that and the information about your readers to then inform other marketing campaigns outside of Turtl, and also understanding, as you said, what makes your readers tick and what those interests are. So Michael has asked, are you also using this internally for internal comms? So I know we've spoken about the use case of using it for reports and such, but are you using it internally, or is it just for external customer comms at the moment?
Yeah, so not just report, we are using Turtl to create credentials. And in this case, you can see the slides that can also be made on Turtl, right? And we do have an internal version of each report for our internal team to use.
Fantastic. Thank you. So now looking towards 2025, how are the 2025 editions of the documents that are featured in this case study? How are they performing so far? So we saw the 2024 versions. What about the 2025 versions of Brand Footprint and also the FMCG Outlook report?
Yes, so the second edition of our Vietnam FMCG Outlook report was just launched 2 months ago, has already accumulated 5,000 reads. And we also found out that the average read time has increased threefold compared to last year's report. Last year, I think the average read time was 11 minutes and now is 30 minutes. And this is very revealing in terms of, it tells us that our audience is finding the content more interesting and more relevant, right? And then we believe that it will translate into a higher conversion rate the longer people are engaging with our document.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, we saw the reports on the slides, right? They are fantastic documents. And it's amazing to hear that they're still getting that engagement and even more engagement into 2025. And hopefully we see that just getting better and better year on year. So thank you for sharing that. I'm just going to check the chat to see if there's any additional questions. Otherwise, I have one more question for you, and then we'll wrap up. So let's look to the future once more. What is next for Kantar Worldpanel and your strategy?
So at Kantar Worldpanel, we constantly listening to our clients to truly understand what their most pressing business challenge is. And Turtl will remain a key tool for our content execution and our thought leadership strategy. And we will continue to use the report to amplify our research capabilities and our expertise to bring even more useful information and solutions to more people. So looking ahead, we want to enhance the integration capabilities between Turtl and our other marketing tools like our CRM, and that will allow us to extract even more valuable insight and become more present and more relevant in the competitive market. We can use the report to engage with new stakeholders, to drive their awareness, to generate more demand, and ultimately that will grow our sales pipeline.
Fantastic. Jane, you are unstoppable. It is amazing to have this partnership with you, and I'm really looking forward to all of those future plans. So thanks so much for sharing that. Something I did want to mention is that if you'd like to see similar results to Kantar, our product team have been working really hard to create some more incredible innovations in this space. You may have seen some of the recent updates we've had, Editor 2.0, Analytics 2.0. Now we're delighted to be able to offer a free trial of our latest feature, which includes Content AI and also our Revenue AI agent for you today. So if you'd like to give it a try, you can click on the button in the top right-hand corner and then simply fill in the form. We'll also be sending the slides tomorrow, so you can have a look and click on the sign-up form then, and you'll receive that with the recording. So please do share it with your team. Lots of really exciting ways to understand your insights in a very similar way to Jane, with a little bit less manual work now that we have the ability to use and utilize AI to show you those fantastic insights. So please do let us know. But that brings us to the conclusion of the webinar. I want to thank you all for coming. If you do have any questions still, please do feel free to email us, or I'm sure Jane will welcome you to follow her on LinkedIn and get in touch and continue the conversation that way. But thank you again, Jane, for sharing your incredible success story with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm really looking forward to working with you in the future and to see what's next.
It's been brilliant working with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. Take care.